Put the camera back in my head. Okay, so you've been in my sunroom before. You know this room. This is the room where I just put shit so I could use it, you know, while I'm watching TV or anime or streamers or anything like that. And it's like, it's fine. The TV's going to get upgraded probably, but yeah, whatever speakers are in here. So when I'm done with speakers, I decided to default back to the Buchard A500s. The $4,500 set of speakers that, you know, was sent to me, and the new DSPs, and I brought them back up to the room, and I'm like, ah. Then these showed up, and I'm like, well, I got to take the Buchards off again, and now I'll probably not put the Buchards back up here. Because holy shit, these, by the way, best footrest ever. Giant yoga ball. These, I might do yoga on it, relax. These SWAN M300 Mark IIs. Now, in my basement, on my wall, are the SWAN M300 Mark Is, which they weren't called the Mark Is because they were just the M300s. And so these are not anything like those. These resemble a whole lot more the M3As that I reviewed. These are also more money than the M300 original ones because they're $900. We managed to avoid the gemstone in the title. And I know you're all saying, fuck, $900 is fucking a lot, Zeos, but I had guests over. I have a friend, he's got his whole theater going on. He's a fucking groundhog. I'll shoot you. Yeah. He sat here and he listened for a while and we played speakers and he put different things in Spotify. And at that point, he said, well, now the question is, what do I spend $900 on? These or whatever the fuck else the thing was. And I'm like, really? You've been here for like 7 minutes. And you know what? Yeah. Because you could have all the speakers you want until you've heard this, you know, DSP corrected 3-way, 2-inch little high-vi mid-range with a ribbon. I think it's a ribbon. It's a new, like, fancy ribbon that Swan developed. With the wood sides, with the lines in them, and the shape and the angle is just a little bit so much. And then $900 evaporates, apparently, from my friend's wallet. So, there you go. So now, these are a self-powered pair of speakers. If you've seen any of my reviews of the Swans previously, I just did the D300. I just released, finally, the D1090, which was done in my old apartment. The last speaker played in my old apartment, D1090, until I brought a Bluetooth speaker there for cleaning up. But they are one side powered. They are right side powered. Have one of these big, stupid power cables. They're connected from the left to the right via... Hold on. Like a boat CB radio, just 6 conductor, stupid heavy duty cord from one to the other, because all the amplification happens in this speaker. You plug it in there. Hold on, please. How does this fit? There it is. Trying to get it to work. Then you screw that in so it doesn't stay. Power. There's a wireless LAN. This is actually a Wi-Fi speaker, so it does show up on my network as a audio device, so I can literally cast to it from anything else. I'm not doing that currently. Currently, we have the computer here running coaxial digital through mini DSP, which is not doing anything at the moment. Into the coaxial digital, there's an optical, there's RCA, there is XLR, balanced input, and if you look where the hell this wire is going, it's going to a turntable that is currently covered in stuff. And we have the IFI, oh God, what are you? Are you just called the Zen Phono? I think you're called the Zen Phono. So I have a balanced output from the IFI Zen Phono into it. Here are the covers. And I usually, like, this is my thing, I leave them on because there's literally no reason to take them off. I just had them off because we wanted to look at the drivers. But I think they look better. I don't know. I don't know if they look better covered or not now. Because you get the, I'm going to complete this video down the basement, like I always do. Because I know up here doesn't sound as good. I've added, those are the headboard panels. What the hell happened to my... A bird shit in my window with like a fucking shotgun. Oh, fuck. I can't clean that. I'm gonna have to take this screen. Oh God. Bird shit's good luck. It's all good luck. Anyway, I put some headboard panels against the glass where my head is here. I don't have like direct sound reflections because I just wanted to listen. Wow. I just wanted to listen to them just so much, just a little bit more fucking sound. Why is it not on shuffle? I was actually testing the SVS 3000 micro sub in that closet, which is why the mini DSP is all hooked up. And you don't need it. Turns out all you need is this spare speakers. And you're done. That's that. Remote control, real quick. I'll get this out of the way. There is one flaw with these speakers, and I'm shitting you, that is it. This is one of those speakers where I just praise the hell out of it. The one flaw, the volume step is rather large. That's it. It goes, let's just skip to the next track. I lower this all the way to 0. It's gonna play something loud. Let's go to the loud part of the song. And we're gonna go up 1. Don't really hear anything. Okay. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So like that's 10 out of like 30 steps of volume. So you get about 4 or 5 where it's like audible and getting there. So if someone says lower the TV, or if you put this on your TV, by the way, just fiber optic out from your TV into this Bluetooth, you soundbar killer, got Bluetooth built in, boom, fucking done. So you might have a little bit of like it might be too quiet or it might be too loud. It's kind of like a 15% jump in between fucking settings. Because I mean, if you lower it on like the source, which you can if it's analog, you might have a little more control. We have to bring these downstairs. I don't want to leave them. I don't want to do them downstairs, baby, because I like watching things on you. I really, really, really fucking like. This is a flawless. I made the fucking mistake, and it's always hindsight's 2020. When I did the D300 SWAN video, I said these for $600 are the best speakers you can get for under $1,000. And then of course SWAN is like, oh, by the way, we sent the M300 Mark IIs out to you. And I'm like, oh, great. And I look and they're $900. And I'm like, well, maybe they won't be as good as the D300s. Oh, there's another flaw, I should say. Here's the thing. It's not a flaw because I fixed it. It's just a weird unlock setting. Right now, on the back of this unit, there are 3 knobs. Volume and source, which you just press in or turn. And then there's bass and treble. Right? Bass and treble. You all know what bass and treble does. I know what bass and treble does. She knows what bass and treble. We all know what it does. Not on these speakers. That's not what it is. Because they're DSP corrected internally, because the amplifier's in there's 6 amplifiers, and because the digital signal that's being brought in, because I'm feeding it digitally, is being processed to adjust for the treble, mid-range, and woofer. You would, a normal bass and treble is just use your resistor. And on a digitally corrected thing, you turn it up and it just raises the treble or raises the bass. Digitally, in the digital realm. And I don't know what the fuck SWAN has done, but they messed up. When I put the bass and treble knobs vertically to like neutral, where it pops into a detent, okay, it's perfect, it's fine, just leave it alone, you play. They still sound very good. They still sound very good. But they're not the best speakers I've heard in this room. Only when, and I did this to burn them in, because I closed those doors and I would sleep on the other side of the house, so I had these blasting all night. And I'm like, all right, I want to break in the drivers faster. What I'll do is, I'll raise the bass all the way, and I'll raise the treble all the way. Just raise them up 100%. You'll never listen to any speaker with the fucking bass and treble knobs turned all the way up. That's not how it works. It's going to sound V-shaped and muddy, and it's going to... But this speaker, that isn't just a treble and bass setting. It's changing the DSP in a strange way, to the point where when you get these speakers, you, consumer, I highly recommend cranking those two knobs. Just crank them. Because the bass, as the best bass like speaker, it doesn't bloat. It's not like, oh, it's a bass boost and therefore everything is bass. It doesn't do that. It's kind of like the IFI Zendak, like magic IFI X bass button. And then the treble, and I shit you fucking not, I've put my ear right against this and turned that knob up, and the treble never gets more, but it changes. It changes shape. It changes how it's interacting with that tweeter and the mid-range. Something, not just a volume boost, happens. And the imaging improves and the fucking balance improves, and it's like, what is happening? So I am literally awestruck and have to tell you that those knobs are not bass and treble. Those knobs are DSP mode activate. DSP, sell more of these speakers. It's kind of like when you put a demo mode, when you go to Costco and you see the thing and it's dancing around, it's doing all this fancy stuff. Turn these knobs all the way up, that's demo mode. Because now all of a sudden the speakers aren't neutral and flat. They are fucking insane. They're insane. That's Slipknot, by the way, and it just randomly came on. I hit next and the Slipknot comes on. And if we go below that, that's Static X. But I mentioned these get very loud. Like I'm looking for the remote because I'm going to need to use it to plug my ears where the blood is coming out. Those three songs, the two songs played, treble knob turned all the way up, blasting. No, it doesn't hurt my ears. Doesn't hurt my ears. If I turn it down to neutral, it won't hurt my ears. So it's not making the treble more, it's just changing the entire frequency response. Now this could very well be suitifying this, wow, that was a word. Suitable, what words did my brain just combine to make suitifying? Hashtag suitifying. I know what I meant to say. It came out weird. Suitable and compliant, maybe? It might be fixing this room specifically with because that's what you're supposed to do with bass and treble knobs. You're supposed to put them in a room, put a speaker in a room. Okay, the bass is a bit boomy. We're too close to the wall. We'll turn the bass down. And we're farther away from the speakers than normal, and that the treble is sort of getting lost. So we'll turn the treble up a little bit, and you balance out in the room. Now, that's not what these are doing at all. I have no idea what these are doing, but they're not doing that. You just crank them both up, and the bass goes from like a neutral profile to a full profile, and then the mid-range treble on the treble knob goes from a neutral profile to a fucking exciting, dynamic, insane, just... No. That's Astrophysics, Synthwave 80s Remix number 3, Carm Susertad. They don't hurt, and they fill this room better than boot carts do, which is the scariest fucking notion, because I literally took boot carts off these stands, put them behind the TV, because I'm just gonna I'm gonna store them temporarily here while I break these in. Then these will go down the basement. Then I'll put the boot carts back up. Now, I'm storing the boot carts in the basement because these are never leaving the room until I bring them down the basement. Now. Pops in the ghetto, they move like a Gestapo. Drunk off the power and breathe, they often hostile. Okay, so now we're down here. And for about 40 minutes, as long as I could stand it, I played them. You're a fuzzy spider. I played them flat. I adjusted the bass and treble back to flat because it's been a while since I've forced myself to use them like that. And it was like, all right, these are a speaker. They're doing a thing. I know for a fact that they'll change when I turn the thing up, but I'm going to try to get as much ear time as I can. And then I did. And then I turned up the bass one first. and it like thumps so much harder, but it doesn't sound bloated. So bass one just cranked it. Fuck. I tried doing like little half-ass ones upstairs. Like maybe I don't have to go this far. Not that's all the way. Bass all the way, just bass. Like wow. The low end immediately wakes up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. But I had to do the treble. I turned the treble up all the way, just crank it, and then all of a sudden, where the speaker stands were didn't make sense to me. Like it was like no, farther apart. We need a bigger, broader, wider. So I don't know what that says, because the speaker stands were at least 6 inches closer together than they are now. Like each one was a foot closer, and it was fine when I had the vertical. But as soon as I turned them up, I felt like they just needed to get further apart. So that's where they are. They're now further apart. I have them feeding 2 different ways. I bought up my little Sescom switch, which is just a little AB RCA switch box. And I'm using it because coaxial digital is coming out of the SONCOS, going into the switch, going down to an SMSL SU9 DAC, balanced outputs of that going into the back of the speakers because there are balanced inputs on it. Spider, fuck off. And then the other side of that Sescom switch going directly into the speakers because I wanted to determine if you're getting any loss by going analog input. Because as I've explained multiple times on these SWAN speakers, like here the D1090s, hi babies. Like I've explained, there's a DSP correction, which means there's a digital signal processor processing happening inside. In order for a DSP to work, it needs to have the signal, this music, in a digital form so it could do its shit and then push it out analog to the fucking front. Which means if you feed it an analog signal, it has to convert that analog signal back to a digital signal to fuckery to then push out. So it makes sense, and I'm going to still recommend this, even though I'm having a very hard time delineating between whether I switch to XLR through another external DAC or coaxial digital using internal DAC. I'm not looking for a benefit. I'm not like, oh, you're the SU9, that's obviously going to be better for it. I don't think that's the case. Because feeding this directly the digital signal means it doesn't have to do the conversion process. So if we play, do I have a remote? I have a remote. If I put on something perfect, and then we switch from, we're currently balanced, we switch to coaxial and flip the switch. And switch back to balance, flip the switch. There is... That is the swamp from the Dexter OST from season 6. God almighty, that's fucking show. You know that's coming back? I can't believe Dexter's coming back. They need to erase the last season or season and a half from my minds because... I nearly blew them up because I brought them down here and I left the remote upstairs. So I was in the back and my brain was like, turn the volume down. Wait, that's up because I'm thinking about it from the front. So anyway, I ended up playing them at full volume for like, ooh, I don't know, 10 seconds. Because I was like, because there's so many cranks before the top that I panicked. So that's Zeos for you. So they still survived it, but it was a loud bastard. Very loud bastard. So what do you think about them down here, Zeos? Let's get to the point. Cut to the chase. These are the only speaker... Well, I mean, it's not been that long, but these are the only speaker that I think can rival the Bucarts, the A500s. At 1/4 the price. These are $900. They're not, look, it's not like, oh, there's MKII MB42s and they're $48 and they're beating this is a $900 pair of speakers. That is no joke. That is no fucking joke. And they're made in China by a Chinese company. So it's not like Bucart is Danish, so you're automatically paying like a huge thing because it's Danish made. So if Bucarts are made in China, they'd probably be about $2,000. So this is basically competing with a speaker twice as good as it. Also, what I think benefits these over the Bucarts, you can do the room correction thing with an iPhone, which my friend did down here. We actually got that on the A500s. He had an iPhone, he came by, installed the app, did the thing where he swings the hands around, and we actually didn't like the way it sounded when it did the room correction, so I put it back to the stock config, or the new stock config. The problem I have with the Bucarts versus these, is that you have no access to like a bass or treble knob. You basically load a profile, you're done. That's it, you're done. These you can adjust. Now, like I've said, the bass and treble knobs do not do what you think they do. They do very different things. Birdman OST. God damn it. I can't play. I just want to play music all day. So I think that, these are more accessible than the boot carts because, well, they're kind of affordable. No gemstone in the title means affordability in my book. Because, I mean, you could put together a $900 system. You say, I have $900, Zeos. I want to put together a system for my living room. 2 speakers, an amp, and go. And I would have to... What passive speakers would I recommend? Those towers, if you can get them, like little mini towers, maybe? And then what amp? Because then you're like, well, there's a bunch of stereo like receivers. Because you can get a surround receiver, just use the front channels, but the amplification is not as good as a surround receiver is, and like a stereo receiver. But you're talking about, you're going to spend the bulk of that $900 on your speakers. Like those towers, like, I think I got them for cheap, but those are probably going to be like a good $600-700. That's only leaving $200 to $300 most for your amplification. And then you're like, well, what amp? And you get to have Bluetooth, and I have fiber optic input, have a balanced input. So it's like, I can recommend cheap stuff because you're like limited, but as soon as you get into like the range of how much these cost, these make more sense. Because those will never be DSP corrected unless you buy a Dirac Live controllable mini DSP thing, and those are like $700. So these will only ever be their own speakers, passive with amplifiers. These are self-contained, complete boxes. Could you add your own DAC to it? Yes. Do I think it benefits? Hell no. Because like I explained, anything you put into this is going to be reconverted out of analog back to digital. So I do recommend fiber optic or coaxial digital, fine. You can, if you need to go RCA, here's the thing. If you have a Marantz surround sound processor, specifically Marantz, if you have another brand, you have to look this up. There are RCA inputs on this. You could use these as the front channels to your fucking home theater. If you have pre-outs on your receiver. If you don't have RCA pre-outs, you can't. And nothing gives you digital outputs, which is why my whole home theaters took fucking 3 hours to explain. These speakers are dummy thick. And they're expensive. But I think they're beautiful. In fact, I'll take the covers off again. I'm usually, like I said, I'm usually a leave the covers kind of on kind of guy, but... There's already grills on this. And by the way, that is a fucking wild looking tweeter. There's no depth to it. It's just a flat copper sheet. At least it looks like copper. What are you doing in there? A little hi-fi driver with they've already got a grill on that. So you just take these off and you'll be like, all right, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Cool, 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 cool. Cool, cool. I don't know where I want to I want to wrap this video up because I know they're all fucking very long. And I think I've pretty much already stated, but just by comparing to the boot carts, that you're probably interested in buying these. But there's so many little things that were bringing me to tears. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it was like cry time a little bit. And not from like a sad song that brings back a memory of childhood lost. It was like crying because of the fucking amazement of the hardware, which I think is a problem with audiophiles. We should probably get it checked out and diagnosed. But I was like, I can't believe these are doing this. I can't believe this is doing this. It's kind of like watching your family fucking hatchback win a goddamn, dirt race against professionals. It's like, I can't believe it's doing this. It's doing so well. And it's just like, it's impossible. But these feel like impossible speakers. That's a bad analogy, but go with it. I'll skip forward. All right, that's unbalanced. Let's switch it to coaxial. Take the DAC out of the fucking chain. Very little. I heard a change using, which speakers? Was it those? It might have been the D1090s. I actually didn't watch the review when I released it. But I know for a fact the D1090s sounded like when you push analog into them, it was not as good. Obviously, the hardware of the D1090s was lackluster, at least the original set. I don't know what the newer ones are doing. But the original set, you plugged it in, you heard it take a down step in quality instead of just going straight in digital. This, more money, more than twice the price of those. Is it worth more than twice? Yes. Just to have features and a nice remote that works and looks and grills and Bluetooth that turns off. That's all right. I still love you, baby. But where did I lose my train of thought? I don't want to get... Yeah, nothing. If you said right now, Zeos, take these off, what do you got to fight them? The only thing is the boot carts. These $4,500. This is it. And these are also self-powered, also DSP corrected, also respond better when you use a digital input. These are a three-way, where it's a big tweeter, front firing 6.5, back firing 6.5. These have a lot more tech as far as like wireless connectivity. These things are still old school. You still gotta hook up a fucking boat cable that I don't even know. Another, I'm gonna complain a little bit because here's the cable, right? This is the cable that feeds from this amplifier to this speaker. And these speakers are not that far apart right now. That's like pretty good. Like if you have a TV, it's a 50-inch TV if you want to compare. 50-inch TV, speaker to the left, speaker to the right. This wire is going a little bit of a baby loop and straight across the back and a little baby loop in there. That means it's not very long. It would have not killed them to make that wire 4 to 6 feet longer. Because literally, if you wanted to have them set up like this, you can't make that wire go down across the floor and up. It literally has to just hang there. And I absolutely don't know where you'd find that wire. Not a clue. Not a goddamn clue. You're just going to be looking for it forever. Like, I don't know. Maybe this one works. Maybe this one. I've never heard of it. I've never seen one like it. But that's it. I'm going to skip. It sounds so good. This might be more fun than the boot carts too. I think that might be my bias. I think that's why I'm putting them up on that same pedestal. Because the technical impressiveness of those comes through in this, but these are also a bit more fun. They have a little bit more low end. Like it's maybe not as accurate as the boot carts because they're controlling both front and rear, and this is just a port. But I'm enjoying my music. I'm at least enjoying my music as much. They're a little bit more in that department. They're not just like perfectly straight, okay, measured DSP. These are just like, because they don't know what's going on in the room. These are just one profile. Here you go. You bought them. Hope you enjoy them. Enjoy Glitch Mob. I could sell these speakers to everybody. I'm trying to do it over the internet, which is very difficult. Because, I mean, all you have is this hands. These hands and this remote and these hands and anime wallpapers and my word and a sound demo, which will be on the second channel, by the way. Sound demos have moved to their own dedicated channel to try to keep shit from getting fucked here with algorithm things. So link in the description. There will be no video out tomorrow. Link in the description for the sound demo for these on the separate channel, which you can subscribe to and do anything you want there. It's great. But here's the scary part. Ready for the scary part. I praise these up and down. The River Thames. I'm just screaming, oh my God, they're so great. This is not even close to a top of the line for them. Not even close. Those boot carts are the best sounding speakers I've ever heard in this house, in my possession. The best speakers I have. These might be the same as them. I'm not going to put them over the top. They have a different tuning. They have a different way of presenting sound. It's a little bit more fun. More fun doesn't make it technically better, but it's more fun. But these are the M300s. There are M500 Mark IIs. And then there are Let's take a quick jaunt. I'm jaunting now. These are the M3As, which I purchased with my money to put in my bedroom back in my old apartment. And that's a real phase plug, and that's a mid-range dome, and there's AMT. Look very familiar, don't they? These were $1,200 a pair. And they sit on the shelves, not because I'm disappointed in them, but because they don't work well in the space upstairs, and I have the elements of the bedroom, and down here is sort of like kind of spoken for. But those speakers don't sound as good as these speakers. They took that design, they upgraded it, instead of putting it as the M3A, which, by the way, there is an M3A Mark II. Just pointing that out. It's an uglier box. I like that box better. But now there's the M300 Mark II, which is basically that $1,200 set put into a different model and upgraded to sound better. There's the M500, which makes this, I think it's this with an 8-inch, but it might not be, because then there's the M5A, which that's the M3A. There's the $1,800 M5A, which is essentially this design, the three-way design, and an 8-inch. I'll link it in the description. And guess what? I'm probably going to get a set from SWAN because I'm going to fucking demand it. And if those speakers scale with size like these have scaled with just ability, those will probably be the best sounding speakers I've ever heard. I'm just taking an estimate of that. In fact, I already know where I'm putting them. These speakers, if I can't get the M5As, I know where these speakers or those speakers will go. When I build my new home theater screen, because it's going to be 150 inch instead of 104, I'm going to need a center channel. I always tell people, oh, Zios, you know, should I get this center channel? And they always talk about these little dinky center channels. I'm like, no. If you add a center channel, has to be the best speaker you've got. Right? Left and right. Once you have a center channel, left and right are just doing like music and then a bit of explosion help. Center channel is everything. Center channel is God. And if I get the M5As, both of them would go behind the screen. And if I don't, both of these will go behind the screen. Because these are the best speakers that I could afford to shove behind a fucking projection screen. I'd put them 3 or 4 feet apart, big 150-inch screen, and just had all the dialogue, all the gunshots, everything. I would absolutely, and you could put a pair of speakers as a center, by the way, especially when you have my shit and it's digital. I would absolutely trust this pair of speakers to perform the duties of the most important speaker in your system. Because these are the most impressive speakers I've heard in a long while. Certainly this year. Oh, they stay on all the time too. Like I just never turn them off. Like there's a power button on this. Now they're off and you play music and nothing happens and you turn them on and now they're on. But I never turn them off. Like they don't get that hot. There's only an amp in this one, so you just feel it and be like, it's a little warm. It's like above room temperature, just barely there. Whether that's because they're terribly fucking suited for exposing heat, or they don't care. If you're running them hard and heavy all day, probably open a window behind it. But yeah, I just leave them on. I left them on since I got them. They've been on. They've been on just like, oh, I gotta watch another thing on my TV. Lifelike is the word. I'm trying to just get words because these reviews run on words. And if I don't have the right ones, you're like, I don't know, do I want to buy this? Yes. Should I be concerned? Or do you want lifelike speakers?
Tell me where my dream should hide.
That's the sound. What is it? That's Yoon Sun Na, Mystic River from Immersion. Look up the album Immersion. Mystic River is this track.
Should I leave? Should I remain?
Like there, the treble is nailed. The bass is nailed. If those are true treble and bass knobs, like every other speaker's ever in the fucking whole existence, that woman's voice, I can hear it, would be piercing. And it's not. It's perfect. And that's the end of this fucking review. Nothing is, it sounds better than perfect. And all I can hope for now is that the bigger swans are just bigger, more, bigger, more. Holy shit. I have to stop. Okay, so links to these. I think they're in stock. Stuhl. I think they're in stock on Amazon, which is the only place you can get them. You can probably buy them on AliExpress, but that's the sound I make when people say I'm buying it on AliExpress. I just kind of make like my stomach's trying to throw itself inside out. I hope you get a pair. My patrons have seen this video first. People on Subscribestar see this video first. They're $900. There's a good price to performance blockade there. They're not gonna sell 100 pairs at $900 a pair. But I guarantee you 10 or 15 of these fly off the shelves as soon as this review goes to my fucking supporters. So if you'd like to be one of the supporters, click the link in the description or in the pinned comment. And you can see these reviews early and have first dibs of all the things that are going to go out of fucking stock. D1090. That was a 7 or 8 month wait. Jesus. But when they go public, good luck. Because I think this could replace... This is all things to all men. This is music, imaging, separation, low end, and then movies, imaging, separation, low. There's really no different needs in movies than music. People ask me that shit all the time, and I'm just going to straighten that out right now. If it sounds good for music, it'll probably sound good for movies. The only time it would be different if you need like crazy low end, where you'd add a sub. But you don't need to because these exist. Least bassy track ever. No. Skipping ahead. Yeah, no, they're fucking great. If I can listen to Korn, Here It Comes Again, and just listen to it without like, oh God, too much. And they're so fucking, yes. So I'm done. Patreon, Subscribestar, links to these. Sound demo on the other channel, the alternate channel, which I still have to set that channel up because we're in the past. And this video comes out in the future. So check that out. Yeah, Hi-Fi Guides and the Hi-Fi Guides forums. There'll be a post. There's always a post. If you, wow, I must be going through puberty. If you would like to discuss this more than just the YouTube comments, which disappear and evaporate, please check out Hi-Fi Guides and the forum for the post on these, which the Hi-Fi Guide, the guides itself have to be updated, and I apologize, and these will all be added there, and then they'll be all fucking ruined, because stock will be ruined forever. I feel like Swan underestimates the power of good cheap. I'm saying cheap. $900, these might be your end game speaker. If you bought the D300, you did nothing wrong. Listen to me, hello. Because I know that video came out before I got these to listen to. So it's not my fault when I said that these are the best $1,000, under $1,000 speaker. Because these are the best under $1,000 speaker. In fact, these are the best under Buchard A500 speaker and probably more fun. So these are the second best speaker I've ever fucking heard. And that's just because I got to give clairvoyance to the fucking Buchards, because I think they might have a touch more something. I don't know, something. These. Fucking these. And I'll see you in 2 days. I don't know if I'm switching to the 2-day thing. I'll see you tomorrow for another review, or the day after that. I don't know. The wallpaper's in the description, and give me a good one. Fate.